It was a quiet morning in New York City. The sky was clear, and people were going about their day. Cars moved through the streets, coffee shops were full, and office workers walked to their jobs. Everything felt normal, but high above Earth. Something strange was happening in orbit. Satellites began to show strange readings. Scientists at space stations and observatories noticed odd movements in the sky. A group of blinking lights appeared, slowly getting larger and brighter. At first, people thought it might be a comet or a group of meteors, but soon it became clear it was not natural. At NASA's command center, alarms started ringing. A technician shouted for his team to look at the screens. Hundreds of silver ships were coming closer. They were not shaped like anything Earth had seen. Some were wide and flat like pancakes, while others looked like floating towers. They moved slowly and with purpose in just a few minutes. The ships appeared in the skies above every major city: New York, London, Tokyo, Sydney, and many more. People looked up, pointing at the strange objects. Phones came out, and videos were taken. The world was watching. But instead of panic, something else happened. People were confused, not afraid. Then a loud voice echoed from the sky. It spoke. In English, French, Spanish, Chinese, and many other languages at the same time. The voice said, "We are the Xanathi Galactic Empire. You now belong to us. Kneel and surrender." The voice was deep and serious. The message repeated over and over. The ships hovered above like kings looking down at ants. But instead of fear, something very different happened. People began to laugh. At first it was just a few people. A man on the street near Central Park chuckled and shook his head. A woman in Tokyo laughed out loud and said it sounded like a bad movie. Then more people joined in. Laughter spread. On social media, jokes and memes were made within minutes. Someone added dance music to the alien speech. Others drew cartoons of the Xanathi ships wearing silly hats in Los Angeles. A group of students held up signs saying, "Welcome to Earth, we're full, and try Mars instead." News anchors tried to keep a straight face, but many could not stop smiling. The tone of the invasion felt like a comedy show. Meanwhile, the world's leaders met in emergency rooms. In Washington, military generals and the president gathered. In the Situation Room, Captain Eric Lawson, a smart and calm officer, gave a report. "The ships are not attacking," he said. "They're just ... hovering." Colonel Maria Lopez looked at the footage. "They're waiting for us to surrender," she said. "But nobody's scared." The president frowned. "So what do we do?" "Honestly," Eric replied, "we just watch." In the United Nations building in New York, world representatives met. Many were shocked, but also amused. A young woman named Rachel Moore, who worked in the communications office, whispered to her friend, "They sound like they've watched too much bad sci-fi." Back in space, the Xanathi watched Earth. Their leader, High Commander Travax, stood on his command ship. He wore a long dark robe and shiny armor. His eyes were cold, and his voice was like metal. "Why do they not fear us?" he asked, his second in command. Rallick looked at the screen. "They are laughing, Commander. We do not understand why." Travax turned away, angry. "Laughter is the sound of war among the Xanathi. Prepare our weapons." But still, no attacks came from Earth. No armies moved. No missiles were fired. Earth's people just kept laughing. Even soldiers at bases watched the alien message and laughed. A group of Marines in Arizona made a music video using the alien broadcast. It went viral. In Chicago, a stand-up comedian named Sam Price was on stage. "So the aliens came to take over," he said. "But they forgot to check if we had free Wi-Fi," and sarcasm. The crowd laughed. The video of his show spread around the globe. Humanity was not acting like a species ready to surrender. They were acting like the whole thing was a joke. And maybe, in a strange way, it was Jake Carter, a software engineer in Houston, was one of the first to build an app using the alien voice. He called it Xanathi Translator. The app turned every alien sentence into a Shakespeare-style insult. People loved it. It hit 1 million downloads in less than a day. In Paris, artists painted the alien ships into the sky like works of art, in huge genre dancers performed under the ships. In Mumbai, a street band played music and called it Alien Groove Night. Back on the Xanathi ship, Travax grew more and more confused. They are not fighting. They are not running. What is this madness? Ralek watched another Earth broadcast. This time, it was a cartoon showing a Xanathi commander being hugged by a giant Earth cat. Ralek didn't understand, but something about it made his head feel light. "Maybe they are stronger than we thought," Ralek said. Travax looked at the screen. "Or maybe they are fools. We must wait and watch." Back on Earth, people were going about their lives. Some worried that the aliens might attack, but most believed it was just another strange moment in Earth's wild history. After pandemics, political fights, and internet debates, alien invasion felt like the next episode in a crazy show. Rachel Moore stood outside the UN building and looked at the ships above. "If they want Earth," she said, "they better learn to laugh." And so, the first day of the Galactic Empire's arrival came to an end. The ships still hovered. The alien voice still repeated its message. But Earth was not afraid. Earth was busy, creating content, making fun, and showing the galaxy what it meant to be human. Because sometimes, when the sky is filled with danger, the best answer is not fear. Sometimes, the best answer is to laugh, and that was only the beginning. The next morning, the sky was still filled with the alien ships. People had slept through the night without fear. In many cities, the strange floating ships had become part of the skyline. Tourists took pictures. Kids pointed at them from school. Buses, life continued almost as usual. In Washington, the president met with her staff again. Captain Eric Lawson and Colonel Maria Lopez sat at the big table with other advisors. Everyone looked at the large screen showing live views of the alien ships. "They still haven't moved," Maria said. "They're not attacking, and we're not doing anything to provoke them," Eric replied. The president looked tired but calm. "Maybe they're confused," she said. "Or maybe they're waiting. Either way, we have to prepare for a response. But not with weapons. Not yet." Across the country, the mood was still light. People were treating the alien visit like a festival. In Times Square, a huge crowd had gathered to watch a comedy show about the invasion. A man dressed like an alien stood on a small stage, waving a toy laser gun and yelling, "Surrender your snacks." The crowd roared with laughter. Rachel Moore, the young communications officer from the UN, was busy writing Earth's official response. To the alien message, she had watched the way people reacted. She knew Earth could not answer with fear or hate. She wanted to speak in a way that felt true to who humans were. Rachel walked into the meeting room, where the Secretary General and other world leaders waited. "Are you ready, Rachel?" the Secretary General asked. "Yes," she said. "I wrote something simple, respectful, but also human," She stood at the podium. A camera recorded everything. Her face appeared on screens all over the world and in space, too. The leaders of the Xanathi Galactic Empire, she began. Earth has received your message. We understand that you ask us to surrender, but we must say no, not because we want to fight, but because we are not afraid. We are a world of many people, many voices, and one sense of humor. We laugh when we are scared. We laugh when things are strange. We laugh even when we are unsure. She paused. We invite you to learn about us, not with threats, but with curiosity. If you still want to talk, we are ready. But don't expect us to kneel. Expect us to laugh. Rachel's message was played around the world. People cheered, some clapped. In cafes and restaurants, others danced in the streets. The message was translated into over 60 languages and shared millions of times. Back on the Xanathi command ship, High Commander Travax watched Rachel's speech in silence. His face showed no emotion, but his fingers tapped on the edge of his chair. Rallic, his second in command, said, "They are mocking us, or maybe they are teaching us. I'm not sure. They refuse to surrender," Travax said. "And yet they send. No army, they fire no weapons. Their weapon is laughter." "It is powerful," Rallic replied. "I felt something strange while watching the female speaker, like ... warmth." Travax stood. "We must learn more. Send a small team to the surface. Do not reveal our mission. Observe only." In a hidden desert outside Nevada, a small silver ship landed quietly at night. 3 Xanathi agents stepped out. They wore long black suits and glowing belts. Their faces were hidden behind helmets. They moved silently into a nearby town called Sandy Creek. It was a small place with just one main street, a diner, a gas station, and a movie theater. The agents split up to observe human behavior. One entered the diner. Inside, locals were watching a rerun of a comedy show on the old TV. People laughed and ate pie. The alien stood near the jukebox and listened. The sounds were strange. The feelings were new. Another agent went into the movie theater. A film about an alien invasion was playing. The crowd laughed at the silly aliens on screen. The agent tilted his head, confused. The third agent watched a group of teenagers dancing in the street. Music played from a speaker. The teens invited the stranger to join. The alien hesitated, then copied the movements. The teens cheered. The agents returned to their ship and sent their report. "The humans do not fear us. They live with joy. They find pleasure in stories and music. Their laughter is not a sign of war. It is their way of life." Travax read the report with a frown. "So they are not preparing for battle?" "No, Commander. They are living. Back on Earth, something new was happening." The alien message had stopped. Repeating, people noticed. The voice that once demanded surrender was gone. The skies were quiet again. In Los Angeles, a group of artists painted a large mural of Earth and the Xanathi ship shaking hands. In London, schoolchildren wrote letters to the aliens, asking questions like, "Do you eat pizza? And what is your favorite color?" In Houston, Jake Carter updated his app. Now it could also send friendly messages in the alien language. People began using it to say hello to the ships in the sky. Some ships blinked in response. Rachel Moore was invited to speak again. This time, she sent a direct message to the Xanathi. "Ship, we are glad you came," she said. "You gave us something to think about. You reminded us that even in fear, we can find connection. If you still want to talk, we are ready. But we hope you'll stay and listen, not to our leaders, but to our people. This message reached the Xanathi capital ship. Travax stood quietly, watching Earth from the wide window. Rallic joined him. They are not like the other species we conquered. They are strange, but they are not weak. Travax nodded slowly. We need a new plan. He looked at the stars and thought deeply. Send a cultural envoy. Choose Earth's terms. Let us see their world. And so, the second phase began. A message was sent to Earth. We accept your invitation to learn. The people of Earth cheered again. The invasion had turned into a conversation. A group was chosen to meet the aliens in person. The team included Rachel Moore, the comedian Sam Price, actor Leo Brooks, and Dana Mitchell, a linguist who had studied alien signals for years. They were called the Cultural Envoy Team as the sun set behind the mountains. A sleek silver shuttle landed near the United Nations building. A ramp opened. From inside, Xanathi stepped out, taller than any human, but calm and curious. Rachel stepped forward and smiled. Welcome to Earth. We're glad you're here. The Xanathi envoy bowed. We come to learn. And just like that, a new kind of first contact began. Not with fear, not with war, but with a handshake, a smile, and the sound of laughter still echoing through the air. The sun was rising over the Atlantic Ocean. On a quiet beach in Portugal, people were doing yoga and walking their dogs. Overhead, the Xanathi ships floated in silence. After days of tension and confusion, things were starting to change. In a tall building in New York, Rachel Moore stood in front of a large screen. She watched as the alien shuttle prepared to land again. This time, it was to take her and her team into space. Are you ready for this? Asked Sam Price. He stood beside her, holding a small bag with notebooks and a few comedy DVDs. As ready as I'll ever be, Rachel said with a small smile. Dana Mitchell, the team's linguist, was checking her translation device. She was calm and focused. We're not just representing Earth's governments, she said. We're showing them who we really are. Leo Brooks, the actor, laughed. Let's just hope they like popcorn. A few minutes later, the shuttle arrived. It looked like a smooth silver bird. The door opened slowly, and a soft light glowed inside. Xanathi waited at the top of the ramp. They did not speak, but bowed politely. Rachel and her team walked up the ramp and entered the ship. The door closed behind them, and in seconds, the ship rose into the sky. Through a round window, they could see the Earth getting smaller. Inside the ship, everything was quiet. The floor felt soft under their feet. Lights changed color slowly along the walls. The Xanathi led them to a round room with chairs shaped like petals. Travax, the Xanathi commander, appeared on a screen. His face was still serious, but his voice was softer this time. Welcome aboard. You are now guests of the Xanathi Empire. Rachel stepped forward. Thank you. We hope we can understand each other better. That is the goal, Travax replied. We are confused by your people. We do not understand your ways. Your laughter, your joy. These are new to us. Dana smiled gently. We will explain, and we hope to learn from you too. The journey through space lasted only a few hours. Soon, the Earth team arrived at the main Xanathi ship. It was larger than any human city. Floating lights surrounded it like stars frozen in place. The ship's inside was beautiful and strange. Walls changed shape slowly, and the air smelled like clean metal and fruit. The team was guided to a large room with a stage in the center. Travax entered the room, followed by dozens of Xanathi leaders. Their long robes flowed as they walked. The room was filled with silence. Rachel spoke first. "We know you came too. Earth with power and plans. But we believe there is another way. Let us show you something different." Sam stepped onto the stage. He looked a little nervous, but took a deep breath. "Hello," he said, his voice shaking. "I'm Sam Price. I tell jokes for a living. But today, I'm here to show you how humans use humor. Not to attack, but to connect." The lights dimmed. Sam began his routine. He talked about traffic, strange food combinations, and Earth's habit of arguing on the internet. He made a few jokes about the alien ships and how people tried to sell them on online shopping sites. At first, the Xanathi stared. Then, one of them made a strange noise, short, musical grunt. Another one followed. Slowly, more joined. It wasn't quite human laughter, but it was close. Travax watched, his eyes narrowing. But something in his face softened. He did not stop the performance. When Sam finished, he stepped back, breathing hard. The Xanathi made more of their soft laugh sounds. A few even clapped by tapping their hands together slowly. "That was ... new," said one of the leaders. "That was Earth," Rachel said. "We laugh to deal with fear, pain, and confusion. It helps us understand each other." Leo stepped forward. "And we tell stories too. Let me show you." He began acting out. A short play about friendship between a robot and a dog. The story had no words, just gestures and expressions. The Xanathi watched in silence, but their eyes glowed brighter. Dana finished the session by showing pictures from Earth children, playing, musicians performing, people dancing, families eating together. "This is who we are," she said. "We do not wish to be conquered, but we wish to be known." After the presentations, the Earth team was invited to a meal. The Xanathi did not eat food like humans. Instead, they shared energy from glowing orbs. The humans were given fruit from Earth, grown in a space farm. "This is delicious," Sam said, biting into a bright orange apple. "Did you steal this from us?" "We borrowed and improved," a Xanathi replied. Later that night, Rachel sat in a small room on the ship. She looked out at the stars. Travax entered quietly. "You surprised us," he said. "We surprised ourselves," she replied. "Your people are not what we expected. You are not warriors. Yet, you are strong." "We have many problems," Rachel said. "But we also have hope and humor." Travax nodded. "We are not ready to join your world, but we are ready to listen." The next morning, the team returned to Earth. The shuttle landed to cheers and music. Crowds waved signs. News cameras rolled. The first peaceful meeting between humans and the Xanathi had ended with laughter. "Not war." Rachel stepped out first, waving. Sam followed, holding up a sign that said, "Aliens are fans now." The world changed that day. The ships stayed in the sky, but now they blinked lights in patterns that matched Earth music. Messages were sent back and forth. Humans and Xanathi began learning from each other. Schools added alien studies. Xanathi art was shown in museums. Some humans even learned to speak the alien language. More meetings were planned. Back in space, Travax stood in his chamber, holding a small object, a gift from Rachel. It was a comedy DVD. He turned to Rallick. "They are not what we thought." They are not weak. They are something else. Rallic smiled. They are human, and for the first time in Xanathi history, their empire did not expand through fear. It paused, it listened, and it began to change. Because sometimes the most powerful thing in the universe is not a weapon. Sometimes it is a joke told at the right moment, a story shared between strangers, a laugh that echoes through the stars. The days after the Earth team returned home were filled with excitement and change. People everywhere talked about the meeting with the Xanathi. News channels showed clips of Sam's comedy show and Leo's silent play. Schools held special classes where students drew pictures of aliens and wrote stories about space. In the Xanathi fleet, things were changing too. High Commander Travax ordered new learning centers to be built inside their ships. The centers were filled with videos, books, and music from Earth. Xanathi leaders and soldiers were asked to study Earth's cultures. Travax met with Rallic often. They talked about what they had seen. Their joy is strange, Travax said, but it is powerful, yes, Rallic replied. They live with emotion. They do not hide it. Maybe that is their strength. On Earth, Rachel Moore received a letter from the United Nations. She was asked to lead a new group called the Cultural Exchange Council. Their job was to help humans and Xanathi understand each other better. Rachel accepted. She called her old team to help. Dana, Leo, and Sam joined her again. They set up offices in New York, London, and Tokyo. Their first project was to invite a group of Xanathi to live on Earth for 1 month. The Xanathi agreed. A small team arrived and stayed in a peaceful town near Seattle. At first, people were nervous. The aliens were tall, spoke slowly, and had strange customs. But soon, things became normal. A Xanathi named Velen joined a local art class. He learned to paint with watercolors and made a picture of the town's lake. Another Xanathi, Lyra, helped at the library. She organized books and read with children. Her favorite book was a story about a bear who wanted to fly. The most popular Xanathi was Kor, who loved cooking shows. He watched every episode of a baking contest and tried to make cookies in a human kitchen. They looked strange but tasted good. People began to like the Xanathi. They were quiet, kind, and curious. Some kids even dressed like them for costume parties. Rachel and her team worked hard. They wrote guides for both sides. One guide explained how to greet a Xanathi without causing confusion. Another guide helped Xanathi understand human jokes. Sam wrote a comedy book called Jokes for Space Friends. It became a bestseller, but not everyone was happy. Some people on Earth did not trust the aliens. A small group protested outside the cultural center in Paris. They held signs that said, "Earth first and go home aliens." Rachel spoke on television. "We understand your fears, but peace comes through learning, not hate. These visitors are not here to take, they are here to share." Back on the Xanathi ship, not all leaders agreed with Travax. One commander believed that Earth was dangerous. "They use humor to hide their true plans," Zorel said. "They make fun of us to weaken us." Travax listened, but shook his head. "No, they offer us something we never had. A new way to see the galaxy." Zorel was not satisfied. He started sending secret messages to other commanders. He wanted to build support for leaving Earth and ending the cultural exchange. Rachel and her team did not know about Zorel's plan. They were busy preparing for the Earth's Xanathi Celebration Day. It was a big event planned in New York. People and aliens from all over would join together for music, food, and fun. Leo worked with a dance group to create a special performance. Dana helped students prepare speeches in both human and alien languages. Sam wrote a new comedy sketch for the event. The celebration day arrived. A large crowd filled Central Park. Bright banners flew in the wind. Music played, and the smell of food filled the air. Rachel walked onto the stage. She looked around and saw humans and Xanathi sitting side by side. Some held hands. Others shared snacks. She smiled and began to speak. Today, we celebrate not just peace, but friendship. We show that two very different worlds can come together. We show that understanding is possible. People clapped. The Xanathi touched their hands to their chests, their way of showing respect. Then Sam stepped up. He told jokes about trying to cook alien food and how hard it was to learn Xanathi handshakes. The crowd laughed. Even some of the aliens laughed in their own strange way. But far above Earth, on one of the Xanathi warships, Commander Zor watched with anger. He believed the humans were trying to make fools of the Empire. He sent a secret message to a small group of ships. They began to move. Down on Earth, the celebration continued. A group of children sang a song in 2 languages. The lyrics were simple. We are different, we are same. We have hearts, we have names. Just as the final music performance was about to begin, a loud sound came from the sky. People looked up. A group of Xanathi ships were flying low and fast. Rachel received a message in her earpiece. Dana's voice sounded worried. Something is wrong. These ships were not invited. Rachel ran to the control tent. A screen showed the ships moving in a strange pattern. Are they attacking? Leo asked. I don't think so, Rachel said. But we need to find out. Travax contacted Earth from his ship. His face looked angry and shocked. This move was not approved, he said. Someone has gone against our orders. I will stop them. He gave quick commands to his fleet. Ships moved into position, blocking the rogue group. There was no fighting, only silence and tension. On the ground, people waited. The music stopped. The celebration paused. Then, after 10 long minutes, the rogue ships turned and left. Travox sent another message. I have removed the threat. I am sorry. There are still voices in our empire who fear your world. But I promise, I will not let fear win. Rachel returned to the stage. She looked at the crowd. We just saw that peace is not easy, but it is still worth it. Today, we faced fear, and we stood strong. The crowd cheered. Music started again. The celebration continued. That night, Rachel sat with Sam, Dana, and Leo near the lake. They looked at the stars. Do you think this will last? Sam asked. I think it can, Rachel said. As long as we keep talking, as long as we keep listening. Leo smiled. And maybe keep telling a few jokes. Dana nodded. It's a start. Up in space, Travax watched the night side of Earth. Rallick stood beside him. Zoril will be removed from command, Travax said. He tried to bring war, but Earth gave us something better. What did they give us? Rallick asked. Travax thought for a moment. They gave us a reason to laugh, and maybe a reason to change. Xanathi ships stayed in orbit, but now they were not invaders. They were guests, and on Earth, people remembered that even in dark moments, light could shine through, a light made of understanding, of friendship, and sometimes of simple joy. Weeks passed after the Earth's Xanathi celebration day. The sky was still filled with the alien ships, but now they looked like part of the sky itself. Children waved to them during the day. At night, people saw new, blinking patterns that looked like stars dancing. Rachel Moore sat at her desk in the Cultural Exchange Council building. A letter from Travax was on her screen. It said, "We are ready for the next step." She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, people were entering the new Earth's Arnathy Cultural Museum. It was a large glass building filled with art, music, and videos from both worlds. Humans and aliens walked side by side, taking pictures, asking questions, and smiling. Rachel called her team. Sam, Dana, and Leo arrived within the hour. "Travax wants us to visit their home planet," she said. Sam raised his eyebrows. "That's a big step." Dana nodded. "This is history. We should go," Leo smiled. "Let's bring some Earth snacks. We don't know if they have popcorn." The next day, the team boarded a special Xanathi ship. This one had been changed for human comfort. It had soft seats, windows, and even a small Earth-style bathroom. The journey through space lasted 2 days. The humans passed the time watching movies, reading books, and practicing the Xanathi language. When they arrived, they saw a planet covered in silver-blue land and glowing rivers. Tall, curved buildings rose from the ground like giant plants. The sky was purple and the air shimmered. Travax welcomed them personally. His face looked less hard than before. "You have come far," he said. Rachel nodded. "So have you." They were taken to a large hall where Xanathi leaders and citizens had gathered. This was the first time many of them had seen a human in person. The humans bowed politely. The Xanathi touched their hands to their chests. Dana gave a short speech. "We come in peace. We come with open minds and open hearts." Then Sam took the stage. He told a new joke about trying to sleep in a zero-gravity bed. Some of the aliens made their strange laughing sound. Later, Leo performed a small play using light and shadow. The Xanathi watched closely. Some of them even clapped. At the end, the next few days were filled with learning. Rachel and her team visited Xanathi schools, gardens, and libraries. They saw how the aliens taught their children using music and memory lights. They saw trees that glowed and changed shape when touched. In one class, a young Xanathi student asked Rachel, "Do you dream like we do?" Rachel smiled. "Yes, we dream. Sometimes we dream of peace, sometimes of flying, and sometimes of very strange things that make no sense." The student tilted their head. "We do that too." At night, the humans sat with Travax and other leaders. They shared stories of Earth's past, of wars, progress, inventions, and mistakes. The Xanathi listened. "We have always believed in order," said one leader. "But maybe emotion is not weakness. Maybe it is something we missed." Travax looked at Rachel. "I came to Earth thinking you were simple. I thought laughter was noise. Now I see it as more. It is strength." One evening, the team was invited to a special ceremony. It was held under a glowing sky, with hundreds of lights floating above. The Xanathi danced slowly in circles, their bodies moving like waves. Rachel turned to Sam. "They are celebrating, just like us." Sam nodded. Different music, same joy. The next day, the humans prepared to return to Earth. As they said goodbye, a young Xanathi child gave Rachel a small crystal. "It holds light," the child said. "When you feel afraid, look at it." Rachel thanked the child and smiled. I will keep it safe. Back on Earth, their return was celebrated across the world. People gathered in parks and halls to hear their stories. The media called it the journey of understanding. In the months that followed, more Xanathi visited Earth. Some went to schools. Others worked in science labs or joined art groups. A few even acted in Earth movies. Earth also sent people to the Xanathi world. Farmers, teachers, dancers, and students took part in a great exchange. One day, Travax sent a final message to Earth. It was simple. The Empire is no more. We are no longer conquerors. We are explorers of knowledge and friendship. We thank humanity for showing us a better way. His words were broadcast live across Earth and the galaxy. Rachel watched it from her office. Tears came to her eyes. "We did it," she whispered. Sam walked in, holding coffee. "We really did." Leo and Dana joined them. They all stood together, looking at the stars. Peace had not come through force. It had come through laughter, stories, and open hearts. The great empire had arrived expecting to rule. Instead, they learned to share, and Earth had become a symbol not of power, but of humanity. From that day on, the anniversary of the arrival was known as Unity Day. Every year, people on Earth and across the stars celebrated with music, food, stories, and jokes. Children dressed as aliens. Families watched old videos of Sam's first comedy show on the Xanathi ship. People sent messages of peace into space. Rachel kept the crystal on her desk. Every time she looked at it, she remembered the journey, because sometimes the most powerful change doesn't begin with a weapon or a speech. Sometimes it begins with a laugh and ends with a friendship that lights the stars.